it's Sami and
Allison.
we're here with another week on the Woman of the Wise podcast, talking about 2022 and the wild, crazy ride that it was.
Yeah, what happened, man?
Oh, what didn't happen, man?
In the beginning, in January, can we even go back that far? When did we start our podcast? I guess that's the first question. Does that start in 2022?
Great question. I can look that up for you.
By the way, guys, we're winging this. This is a completely unscripted, uninterrupted.
Let's see. Here's all the meditations. Introductions Aside was published June 14th of 2022.
That was like midway through the year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. So what I've decided is, I've concluded that 2022 was like 64 lifetimes in 1 year.
Yeah.
So we really started getting Pelucity going in the beginning of the year, but it was like this quiet thing, just trying to lean into it, really figuring each other out and how we work together. I think that's when you leaned into the manifestor part of the manifesting generator and said, we're gonna do this thing. And then I said, do you want to do this thing? And then you said yes. And then we did it. We traveled, taught Reiki, taught soul Reiki, which was really exciting. That was an unexpected, beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
We went and hugged people. What was your favorite part of 2022, I guess?
I was just thinking of that. I was thinking, like, when did I feel like we were a company that was like more than just a little quiet thing we were discussing privately? And I think it was probably when we went to Virginia to do the expo there. I think that was I can't even remember when that was last time. But that was my favorite moment because I really was like, holy cow, like people want this. Like this isn't just a thing you and I are discussing, in your front room of your house, on the futon. This is like, or something we say where we're like, yeah, our main goal is to get these sanctuaries out there global. Like seeing actual people, and maybe it was because we were in a different place too, but like meeting new people, seeing actual people we've met online and hugging them and being around them and all of that. It was like, we could do this, like this could be a thing. And then came the summer of a million expos, which was a great
so many
which was good and bad. But yeah, this year I felt like was just like us testing and trying every single thing that a business owner can do, just to see what actually works for us.
Which is so perfect because you're a 3-5 and I'm a 1-3. So experimentation. Guys, if you haven't figured out, I'm like obsessed with human design. I don't know where you've been, but what is so cool about that 3 line is it's all about experimenting. And I think that's why partly we work so well together is that we're not afraid to fail. Like we relish in the failure and the experimentation of that because it helps make us better and really is able to help refine our way of being, constantly changing and stuff, to really help us be the best that we can be for the community and everyone at large. I like where you're going. I like this.
I got to get into a more comfortable position.
Oh, we're getting comfy now, you guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's weird too because it's a business, but it still doesn't feel like a business. It feels like this massive community we're creating. And it's like, I don't even know what to call it,
There isn't a word for it yet. Ooh, there's probably a word in a book. I've got some books. I'll go look in those books for words.
Is the book of words the dictionary?
No, it's by Charles Einstein.
Oh, a specific book. I see.
Sacred Economics, I think it is. I just picked it up. I started reading it. I ordered it from the bookshop.org. I ordered 3 of the books like a million years ago, and they only sent me 1, and I could never get the other 2. And I was like, I guess I'm supposed to just read this one. And then what happens is, I don't know if this happens to you, if I'm not supposed to read something or whatever, and it's not supposed to distract me, like the Fae just take it and it just gets lost in my house for a while. It
I
just
believe
resurfaced
that.
the other day. And this on the bookshelf, it's not like it moved anywhere. Just they were just like, you may not see this. And I was like, I've been looking at this book everywhere, man. And so I'm gonna look into that because it really is, I think, it's just going forward, and so much of why we got together is that we don't want it to feel like a corporation or like a business in that way.
Mm-hmm.
We want it to be very inclusive and representing, and also being able to sustain not just ourselves, but everyone we connect with. And there's so many people out there doing that, who are running their business and don't care about the profit. They care about sustaining lives. And I just love that concept so much because it's like reinvesting all of that net profit back into the company and sharing it with those who work with us, which we haven't gotten to yet. But one day when we get to the net profit level,
Mm-hmm.
it'll just be so fun to be like, here's end of year bonus. Ta-da! We all made it.
Yeah.
And something that we're really interested in is not being exorbitant in that, but to be able to build the sanctuaries and all the other things, the camps, the after school programs, the schools, all of that, to allow us to really be free to follow our human design. And so much of that is bringing the tribe along with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's been really fun.
Mm-hmm.
So much change. Like there's just so much expansion, I think, with every single one of us. And I don't know if the rest of you have felt this way, but there have been some huge expansions that, that frictional energy comes in and just shakes it all up and is really asks you to say, what do you stand for? Who are you? What does this mean? Really going deep within. And I think that's what a lot of what we did this year. Like, who are we really, and what do we stand for? And there's so much to that. And that was just such an incredible discovery. And how many people are so supportive? We have such a beautiful support
Mm-hmm.
within the tribe and the circle, and so many new people coming in all the time. And it's really so beautiful. There's so many people that we've worked with this year, and especially towards this magical tail end of the year, which I think has been even busier than the beginning, believe it or not, of really co-creating these ways of being and how we're expanding out into the things that bring us just so much joy. I love watching you like get into a task or something that you just love, like the event planning, like, oh my gosh, like the event planning, the things that you've been working on this year, prepping and putting together, right? I mean, you guys, 2023 and beyond is just going to be like, this queen's going to fly, and I just get to like come along. She just invites me along. That's what I really feel like. It's so great, right? And the things that will be coming, and the connections. It's so sometimes it's almost a little overwhelming. Like now, like I'm like really starting to think about it, like all the beautiful people that we've met, and how so many have grown, and like how we're all going like different directions, which is really exciting.
I mean,
Um,
what you worked with 127 people this year, and that's not even the all count of like every expo. And you've
right.
literally worked with 127. That's just Calendly stuff.
Oh yeah, in
So
person. I think
yeah,
it's probably close to 500 people, I bet, if we
yeah.
really sat down and tallied it all up in that way. Yeah, it's really, I just feel so blessed, like so many beautiful relationships. And I think something that is so magical is in the tribe, especially, has just been so gracious and supportive with that growth for me personally, because it is so incredible when you say, okay, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. This feels good to me. This is me, or a part of me, or my vision or my mission or any of that. People are like, yeah, 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 yeah. And they support you along the way. And then, you know, for this whole past even 2 years, has that healing of the wounds and the deep shadow work and the support. It's been amazing. I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
even though there were so many trials and tribulations and challenges that we went through together and separately, I mean, dang, you got married. That
Mm-hmm.
was enormous, right? Like,
You lost two cars.
oh yeah. Yeah, that one time we almost died. That happened. I keep forgetting.
Yeah. It's really interesting because this is not something that anyone's done before, right? Is
Right.
I don't know how to explain it.
It's everything and then some.
Yeah.
We're doing
Hmm.
everything and then some, and completely not the way we're supposed to either, quote unquote, right?
Yeah. I mean, I try to, people are like, oh, what's this Pelusi in life thing? And I'm like, well, it's five different parts. And I take them through the spiel and they're like, don't you think that's a lot of things to try to do? And I was like, it's the building blocks of a community.
Yeah.
If you see that as a lot of things.
Not for a manifesting generator. Y'all can do a lot of things. And I love that so much. It's so inspirational because that dream is within my being, right? And it's so
Mhm.
nice to you know, essentially pair up in that way as another to birth it. I mean, that's kind of like what birth is all about. It takes more than one person to birth something, whether that be an idea or a human or whatever. And it just feels right. I don't know. It always has. You think, how we met and how it was because of this idea of five pillars of, and yeah, and how there are so many people who are out there who really do believe that we should treat the whole body, the whole being, and that includes the planet because we're a part of that. And,
Mhm.
how we, by following our own unique frequency and our own rhythm in our own way and our own discovery to ourselves to what brings us joy and helps us feel satisfied in that way of the whole freaking reason we came down here, we end up wanting to help each other in that way. It's amazing. I don't know if I'm ever gonna over. I don't know if you guys know this. This podcast is really just for me and Sami to look back in time.
Mhm. Yeah, this year the tagline was finding our way home. And I honestly can't remember, but you knew this would be a 3-season arc.
Yeah,
And I can't remember what you said second season was going to be. I think third season is homebound or
yeah,
something like akin to that. But you kind of instinctively knew this would be like a 3-year
yeah. Second,
ramp up.
survival of the tribe.
Hmm.
That's what we're gonna all talk about. What it means to find yourself and work together and go deep in the shadow. The people that are coming, that we the people, right? It's our tribe that matters, and there's so many in our tribe. Oh, that explains like so many why everything got rearranged. um, these are some of these people who are coming on in 2023 are our foundational sisters, right? Like they are
Hmm.
our breath, our fire, our heart, our voice, our mountain, right? Our wind, our water, and how each in their own unique way is, as we weave that together to really ensure that the tribe survives and to support each other and how that means and what that means in our own design and celebrating that uniqueness. I'm going to branch out into like 50 other things because that's my jam. I'm supposed to investigate and experiment, and so having the breadth of a circle of people to be like, yeah, I'll do that, yeah, I'm into that, yeah, let's try that.
Hmm.
It's just going to grow exponentially. And there's going to be a time, where we're going to look back and be like, remember when this was quiet? Because next year it's like all the weddings are going to start happening, all the corporate
Hmm.
events, all that. Like, for me, I think human design is going to be my jam for a little while. I think it's going to be one of those long-term experiments.
Yeah, I can't wait for yours and Jared's podcast to come out. It's going to be beautiful. You're
Yeah,
going to get to just talk about that. I can't wait to see the joy on your face
yeah,
when
mostly
you
because
get
it'll
all
be
the
satisfying and
episodes.
I won't have to talk about it everywhere else.
I mean, maybe you will. I talk about astrology constantly. That's been the norm for me since I was 10 years old. I just can't not.
I
If
love it.
if you find a system that's true and helps you make sense of the world, right? Then you want to share it with other people. You want to give other people that sense of peace and calmness and understanding. And yeah, I mean, especially if it gave you power, it gave you this power and this knowledge that and it made you feel seen and it made you feel heard. And you want that's the main, I would say a main characteristic of you is wanting other people to be like seen and loved, right? And them to know that they're seen and loved. And I think human design did that for you. So for you, you're like, let me tell you about this thing.
And I think for you, how does this resonate? We're going to do this. Does it feel accurate that for you, it's about being trusted and valued? Not so much being like seen so much out there, but just being trusted and valued to just go and do whatever it is. Because
Yeah.
everything you've done this year has been a magnet. What does that resonate?
Yeah, I mean, I think I had a meltdown, you guys, the day before Christmas, on the way to go see my family because I was just getting inundated. It was Christmas Eve. I was getting inundated with all of these questions from other people. And, I had spent the whole morning prepping for my husband to have the best. He loves Christmas. So I was prepping for him to get all this stuff for his cookies and some toffee and chip dip, which he loves, and getting everything together and doing a grocery list. And I went out and did it because he's got no blubber on his body. So he gets super, super cold and he shivers. And I only thought that was something like cartoon characters did. I've never seen a person shiver the way he shivers. So I went out and I got the food and I got gas and came home and rushing around trying to get to my family's, which was like an hour away from us, and getting the dog settled and all this stuff. And then I'm still getting all these messages from people and I'm like, this is Christmas Eve. Like, I'm a person. Like, I know that because I'm a manifesting generator, I can just get her done. Like, you give me a task, I've got it done. You give me another task, I've got it done. You give me 27 tasks, I've got it done. Like, I know that that's how people see me, is this like robot that just churns out tasks. Da, 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 da. But I looked at him and I said, I'm a person. I'm still a person. I want to be valued for more than just the things that I can get done for other people. That was like my major grief of the year, right? Was like that, coming from a parentage of teenage parents, where
Yeah.
I was always an obstacle for them. I've always been seen as like this thing that got in the way of their life, kind of thing. And then, in high school and middle school, I became this thing that does a bunch of stuff for other people. And then in college, I was this thing that gets really good grades and helps people, teaches people how to get their work done, and or feeds these, I had a group of dudes that I'd hang out with in college and I would feed them all, but I was always like a thing, a tool, a resource for people. I was never a human being until Allison. Allison was the first person who was like, hi, you're a human? And I was like, pretty sure not. I don't think I've ever been treated like a human. This is weird. Um, so I looked at James and I was like, I'm a human. Like, you have to treat me. Like, I know you didn't ask for me to get all this stuff for you for Christmas. I know you didn't, but you saw me running around and doing it. You could have said, babe, thanks. Tomorrow's going to be great. And
Mm-hmm.
he was like, oh, you're so right. He's like, he's like, I'm bad at that, And it's just like, I get it. Because as a manifesting generator, like, I think Ra Uruhu, is that how you say,
Mm-hmm.
how you say his name?
Robert Allen, Rauruhu.
Robert Allen, I think he had it right when he said that, most people just view the generators as slaves. We're just the worker bees, right? We're just the slaves. That's how
Especially
we're.
the manifesting generators, because you've got the gumption to go and do it. You act like a manifester. Yeah.
So it's like that's how I've always. And then I mean that's obviously a controversial thing to say as a white woman,
Right.
but I don't mean it. I mean it more like people view me as, like I was saying, like a robot, right? Like just a little task robot, and then they forget that like I'm a person who maybe wants to be checked in on or asked how I'm doing, or I would say
Nourished.
95% of my conversations with people are what I can do for them.
I watched it.
Hmm.
I think that's why when we got together, it was so terrifying for so many people because we both coming together kind of created this boundary of like, you can't mess with her and you can't mess with her anymore because you helped me see how often I was being taken advantage of, whether that was on the other side of the fence conscious or not, because like I mean sometimes we don't even know, like we act like our not self so much we don't even really know what we're doing half the time. We think that we're doing this thing. I have a whole theory on that anyway, for another time. when we get deep into the realm of what I've put together in a puzzle. But um there is, and that was like very jarring in the beginning, because so many people would come up to me and tell me whatever their depth was really needed to, and there were good insights, right? Because it really helped me see like how I really was just spending so much time everywhere with everyone. I didn't rest. I didn't even know I was burnt out, because I was like, oh my gosh. I remember the day you looked at my phone and you were like, you have over 200 messages. And then you watched me answer every single one. I was like, well, these people need me. And you were like, did you eat today? And I was like, I don't know. You're like, well, I know you haven't showered because I've been here since you got up pretty much. And I was like, yeah. And remember, I like didn't have like, I was just like floating around. I didn't have time for my kids or anything in real life, because I felt this calling, this urge to just be there. And you were like, it's okay. People can wait. It's okay. And then when I started making that boundary, there was a lot of pushback, but then there was also so much of people like, yeah, you're making a boundary. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, they're like, oh yeah. So it was like, so all these beautiful people stepped up to like help me make that boundary. And then, one of the most interesting things ever, like what I still love, even, who's in charge? This is such a great question. All of us. What? We each have our own thing. And as I come in, we all understand, like, we're working with Kimberly now. And she's like, yep, I'm just part of the circle. Like, I understand, you know what I mean? And it really takes, like, but I think Kimberly, I think Tabby, Kaylee, Lorna, like, really understand. They're like, yeah, we're just coming in, we're working in a circle. Like, but that was so fun because they talked to me and I'm like, I don't know, that's her thing. They're like, wait, is she in charge? And I was like, I mean, for that part, yeah, because talk about anything like that. I'm like, well, I don't know. They're like, well, how come you don't know? I was like, because I don't need to know everything, right? I don't need to be an expert in everything. I just need to know this one little part that I like.
It was really cool because the people who pushed back on you not responding right away, it's been long enough now where I can reflect on that. And those are the people that I've noticed have really, they were kind of using you as a way to not do their shadow work, right? Not grow, not give themselves love, not, you teach a man to fish, he'll fish for life kind of thing. They were just using you as a way to pump themselves up so they didn't have to like look at that or work on that. And it's been cool seeing the people who have, pushed back on that or had the most issue with that. I'm like, I watch some of their stuff now and I'm like, yeah, they were mad about that, but dang, have they grown this year? Like, man, look at the quality of the things they're like producing or discussing, or and it's kind of sad. I mean, I'm sure for you because you're much more emotional than I am. I'm sure you're like, oh, but I miss those people. But at the same time, for me, I'm like, you help people even when you don't mean to help people. Like, you help people by helping you. And it was like very easily demonstrated to me this year that self-care and boundaries is like one of the best things you can do for the collective, because those people didn't have that crutch anymore, and you had your sanity back. Well, as much as a mom of two can have their sanity back who's running two businesses.
Right, right. Well, and I think really leaning into, especially, what I love and adore so much about our relationship and how this has grown is that you really do let me be me. And there's, and I realize, and especially, I don't know, something about that accident was everything. People always talk about how to have these moments. Like, the funny thing is, it's like not collectively, the three of us, that is not our first time NDE either. We've all had B's had at least two. Jared's had at least one. I've had at least three, maybe more. Sometimes I don't remember, you know what I mean? Because I'm just like, wee, that happened way back there. Okay.
Yeah.
Life of my own. A cat. And, but it really shifted everything, I think. And that's how I knew it was like in that major moment. Like, I just knew, I was like, oh, I've been working towards this test for a long time. That's what it felt the second it started. And it's so strange too, because for like weeks afterwards, people would just be talking to me and they'd be like, you don't remember that? I was like, I don't know if you know this, but I was in my car flipped 4 times. Like, My brain did some things. I'm like, oh, right, because we didn't have any like truly physical. I mean, we should have been killed anyway,
Yeah.
but that, and so even now there's still some residualness to that, but that really opened up us to just be like, yeah, and how you really, like you and like the core like really stood and we're like, okay, let's just be supportive and however that is. And but it pushed, I think it pushed us too, because I was like, hi, can you call me? It was like 5 a.m. for you in Michigan. Like, my God.
So for those of you who don't know Allison very well or don't know about the accident or are listening in the future, a couple of things have happened quite unfortunately with the maze this year. I don't know, I think that was last year when Jared and I got into a little fender bender. And by a little fender bender, I
That
mean I
was
had to get a
2021.
totally new
Yeah.
car.
The first
So that happened in 2020. And
one.
then Allison, you had to get your car worked on, right? And it took forever to get it
Oh,
back.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That all happened.
And
Yeah.
then
My
you got
ex.
it back. And then
Yeah.
we were driving home from coffee with friends, and it was rainy and there was flaggers in the road just randomly. Like all of a sudden we came up a hill, and down the hill there was like flaggers and things happening. And we had to stop pretty abruptly, and we didn't even, there wasn't even a car behind us. And the next thing you knew, these teenage girls were just crashing in the back of Allison's
Yeah.
car, which is thankful that her car was there because there was an oncoming semi. But
Yeah.
of course, this was like 2 months after she got her car back, finally had a car. And these girls crashed into the back of it. And at like 40 miles an hour, somehow the Subaru was mostly fine.
And then my dad died right after that, too.
Your dad passed.
Rude.
And then the Alabama accident,
And Bishop went back in the hospital right before then.
yeah, Bishop went back into the hospital with his Crohn's disease and a few other things he's got going on. And then he got out of it, and they were going to see this beautiful healer in Alabama. And then on the way home, they were night driving. A deer pops up in the middle of the road.
Rude.
Their car flips 4 times. There's no way, if you see these pictures, there's no way that they should have survived at all. And they all three did. And then that was the week before my wedding. And then the night of my wedding, as Jared was driving home, a tree branch just randomly fell from the sky onto his car and destroyed his car.
Yep.
So they went from 2 cars to 0 cars in a matter of like 3 days or whatever it was.
7 days. Yep.
Yeah. It was, it's been quite the year for accidents.
So amazing too. Well, and then you really like know how you're blessed, right? Our beautiful friends in town were like, we don't really use this car. Here, use it. So for 2 months, you guys, we used this car so Bishop could get to school, Penelope could get to school, Derek could get to work. Like it was wild. And I just putted around at home. Sam would have to come pick me up when we needed to go anywhere, like, work or whatever we were doing. Because then we also were tutoring with the kids. Like it was really busy, but yeah, I really think like that. Like it's really now we're kind of like, we're at like the 3 month mark, right? October, November, December, January. Yeah, we're almost at the 3 month mark where it's really gonna look back. Like my brain is back mostly.
You
But
working on your hearing still?
yeah, which also coincides with human design. So my left ear has been deaf since then, pretty much with the nerve damage. It's actually getting better every day. We actually did a Reiki share. What was it, like last week?
I think so.
A week ago? Oh my God, time. And Sami was working on me, and I thought, like, even before I went to lay down, I thought I was going to puke. I was like, I'm having vertigo. This is so weird. And then I watched her kind of sway, and then I was gone. And I got up, and you're like, so your ear, and I was like, yeah. And I saw her, like, we both were like, are we gonna throw up? Can we stand up? Can we do this? And then I was done for like 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So that's healing. But that was all part of human design because I'm supposed to listen with my right ear. That's in my channel in my design chart to listen with my third ear. Listen with my third ear. No, this is not a third eye. It's a third ear, you guys.
Excellent.
3D hearing. And so it's really helped do that. But yeah, I keep forgetting that. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I had that brain bleed. Oh, that's also when I realized how much energy I could channel.
Yeah.
You guys want to learn how to trans channel, and you need a coach to help you. Um, it's real fun. It's basically like body doubling. We sit, you kind of open your channel up, and I open my channel up, and I just ask you questions, and it works really great for generators and manifesting generators because they have that sacral. Anyone who's got that sacral, it's like instantaneous. Emotional, it's a little different. But that's what I've been doing too. I realized this whole time is helping people sustain the energy of that open channel because I didn't realize that I was like this all the time. My door's never closed, man. I was like, come on into the house. But you realize that's all like come through. All right, 2023 has been pretty wild. Oh, and we did that amazing ceremony with Kaylee. Oh my God, you guys, Kaylee from Magpie Moonchild did this, like preparing for the return of the light ceremony. I don't do rituals, I don't do ceremony, but she laid it out and she said, I'm inviting you to do this meditation and this healing. And I was like, yes, I do. And then I actually wrote it all down and did the bay leaf and everything, but like really, because it was like taking a moment to reflect on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna do an in bulk one. I'm so
Beautiful.
excited.
One of the founding members of SaiYunaste, our consciousness pillar. It's very awesome.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't go anywhere without her. She came in and has been my mountain since the moment we first met.
Mm-hmm.
And Lorna. And it's so funny because we always talk about we're on different sides of the ocean, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy and I are over here and like Lorna and Kaylee over there, right? Well, and Gret too, of course. All the other people. There's so many. Our tribe is so beautiful. And you always say, well, if we were together, we wouldn't do anything done. And I was like, that's what Kaylee says too. If we were all hanging out, we wouldn't do what we're supposed to do. We'd be like, all
We
right,
would just be
sounds good.
content. We'd create our little oasis and be like, all right, well, that was fun.
Yeah. But we really are here because we want to do more. We feel called to. Like, I mean, there are things that we're putting together, friends, and we've learned along the way too to be quiet about it because we've watched what happens when we're not. And sometimes that's okay. But there are some precious things that we've been nurturing and growing on and really are putting so many hours of work and intention and magic into that. There's others that have come along the way to help us really work through that, and we'll be in and out, but like it's a movement. Like the sanctuaries are happening, and there are so many people worldwide who are saying yes in our preps. And I still talk to hundreds of people a day, maybe not hundreds. That's an exaggeration. If I include all the like non-human entities, then
Tens of people a day.
yeah. Oh man, there's a core group of people who are really, really set to do whatever it takes and believe and trust in this thing, for themselves, for their families, for their communities. Their passion is just beautiful. I just feel really lucky. I really do. We get to do this podcast. I'm going to do like other podcasts. The hypnosis thing, that,
Yeah.
human design, of course, meeting people, traveling. Sam is a great traveling partner, you guys, just in case you didn't know.
Well, thanks. So are you. You do all the driving. I like that about you.
I love driving. But now there's like rules. I don't drive after 10.
Yeah, you need to take breaks and let other people drive sometimes. Yeah.
I can drive all day, just nighttime.
I'm just saying maybe it's nice for you to not have to drive the whole way.
Are you gonna invite me? Are you invite me to take a break?
Yeah, I do. I feel like I do every time. Sometimes you say no, and sometimes you say yes.
I do. Sometimes I do. I do. I'm getting better about it. What are we doing in 2023?
We have, I want to say 3 Find Your Paths coming up. You're teaching Reiki 3 twice this year. You're teaching Reiki 1 and 2, I believe, twice this year, maybe 3 times this year. And then you've got Soul Reiki happening this year as well.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Journey to Joy, which is our cool new mentorship program. Allison does her own private mentoring. I'm starting in on astrology this year, which is pretty wild to finally do that.
We're doing 3 Find Your Paths. I love this, you guys. So our Sami is like the master scheduler. She's like the fate that makes sure that everything gets actually woven correctly and that can happen. And so I'm a chaos wild animal. And I like just don't, it's so weird because we talk about this all the time, but it's like leaning in. She helps me with not getting stuck in toxic flow. Like people talk about that, like to come down to the real world in that way, which is, and like helps me put together ways to like ensure that I keep a human schedule because that's really important. And then I help her go, remember we got to do that? Let's do this instead. And then she leans in and goes, and then off we're going. But she actually wrote a handwritten schedule for me that I keep in my little wallet that I look at. And people go, what about this date? I go, pardon me, I have to look at my piece of paper because my phone doesn't count. It's like not real to me. But oh my gosh, Sarah's getting married next year. Oh,
Yes.
it's going to be in
Incredible.
Vegas. There's gonna be places everywhere. We're coming to a town near you.
Yeah.
Find us, invite us. I want to hug every single person. That's my goal.
And it doesn't have to be a find your path. It doesn't have to be a Reiki. We can create a retreat or anything you want to do for your friends. That's kind of what we love to do is throw community parties for people. So
yeah,
that's our jams.
We've started in the very beginning stages of just talking about doing some stuff with some other people to create these retreats. I don't want to talk about it too much because nothing's in stone yet. But just know that there were like, just think of places like Europe, Iceland, Hawaii, Costa Rica. Like we can go anywhere and do anything.
Sure can.
Siesta.
Siesta.
Siesta. Got to go to Siesta and see that beautiful artist who codes like Nancy.
Yeah.
She draws, they're like 10 feet tall.
Beautiful.
It's wild. We're gonna have a great time. This podcast. So yeah, and so next season is the survival of the tribe. The tribe survives. I don't know. I'll think of some. Finding a way home.
You'll have a beautiful home related, tribe related thing that you'll just flutter out of your mouth.
Yeah, we're like eating ramen together. That's what happens, right?
Yep.
I love you.
Love you too.
And I love everyone who's come along the way.
It's been a great journey. Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah. And like SaiYunaste is always home, you guys. Like, and that includes pellucidity or pellucidity, whatever, however you want to call it. It does not, literally doesn't matter. That's the point of the pillars, is that you come and you learn and you do. Like, dude, you guys, 2023, like my brother's coming on board, I think. And he's like magical. If you want to meet a magical human being who will help change your life, that's my brother, Greg Bell. He's like one of the most incredible humans I've ever met. And we're like related by blood. It's crazy to me. But he's been doing very deep work, getting his certification and degree in this very particular, really important, like, I can't even really explain it. It's horrible. I'm the worst. And it's like amazing, like almost like psychotherapy, but better. But it's really intense. He has a mentor. He's got classes. He's been doing all of that. Now he's starting group sessions. We're gonna put something up together. So that'll be in 2023. It's gonna be awesome.
Woohoo.
Herbalists, like the pillars are starting to flush out. So if you're hearing this and you're like, oh, this calls to me, I invite you, man. I invite and encourage you to connect with us. It's still in the beginning stages, and the end of 2022, like all things, takes time. But if you feel that call, connect, reach out. I'm totally your projector. I invite you to do that. If you're a generator, a sacral generator, how does that feel? Your emotional response, manifesting generator, come back in a week and listen to this again and see if it feels the same or different. Reflectors.
See you in a month.
28 days, man. 28 days later. That's really what it is.
That's
right?
The real movie. Yeah.
Only the reflectors survive because they're like, we waited this out.
Thank you so much for watching today. It has been an absolute pleasure this year. We cannot wait to get started next season. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to help our channel out, and we will see you next time.